So here's a quick follow-up video from a year ago when we looked at my network with my internet supplied by Ubiquiti Nano Beams. So we have some Polycom phones because I'm now a VoIP engineer, so that's not interesting. There's an old PoE switch which needs to be removed, and in the cupboard we still have most of our network gear, except now we have the PoE DC adapter which keeps the router powered, the PoE switch which is a 16-port PoE light, my network drive which is due to be replaced, and the EdgeX and a Raspberry Pi. The Raspberry Pi does the DNS. That connects up to the PoE in for a gigabit flex switch, which is a new addition that came in last week. There's no 10 gig devices on the network yet, so that's for future. We also have a 5G, well it's actually 4G backup, which is just used for the rare times when my internet goes down, and that is the new AX Wi-Fi 6 access point. It gives me about 200 meg. It's actually the AX Lite. Network cable runs outside to a Nano Beam AC loco, which supplies my primary internet connection, as I can only get DSL here, to a friend's house straight over the canal between the two buildings and across the road, about 150 meters. Now if we go downstairs, Scotty, thank you, we have a smart TV, only thing wired down here, a printer that's now gone and that's a failed print. Oh damn it, I'll deal with that later. So in the downstairs cupboard, also known as the server room, that's a joke, we have a old 2.4 gigahertz which is only used for smart devices because the light bulbs have a weak range. There is a NVR for the CCTV. I record on site. It's better than cloud services. The Philips Hue hub and an 8-port PoE switch, which currently powers the downstairs devices and the CCTV cameras. That's a interface for my heating. There's nothing interesting there, and a Raspberry Pi for future use. There's a little setup downstairs. It just gives me some network ports downstairs without having to have too many cables. So now taking a look at the setup, port 4 is the Nano Beam that's powered by PoE. Port 1 is a 100 meg connection, but that's only the 4G router. That's an automatic failover if my primary connection fails. Port 4 is my primary internet connection, which is delivered by the Nano Beam because I can only get DSL speeds here, and that is not fast enough to do anything. Port 2 is my LAN switch, and VLAN 50 is a work in progress for my smart home devices. Taking a look at the Nano Beam, so you've got a sync speed of around a 300 to 400 normally. I've taken the transmission power to its minimum as an experiment, but I'm getting the same speed, so to preserve the radio I'm going to leave it like that for a bit and see how it works. Now taking a look at the unifi software, I had to upgrade to the latest version to get the flex switch to work. I think I upgraded from version 6 to 6.2. You can see from the devices at the moment I've got 2 access points. One of them is legacy and needs to be removed, but it's only serving smart home devices, 2 PoE switches and the flex switch. Looking at the legacy access point, there's a few devices I need to move off of it, but mostly smart plugs and smart bulbs. Now taking a look at the map view, you can see they've improved the icons quite a lot. You can see the upstairs switch currently is my main switch. Everything distributes from that. The downstairs switch has a CCTV, smart TV and some cameras, the DVR and the old access point. Unfortunately I have to still use an injector for that one. I'm only showing the 5 GHz wireless devices because with all the bulbs on you can't see anything on this map. So from there we've got a flex switch which is PoE in over a gigabit powered by the switch upstairs, but I haven't got any gigabit devices. The PoE phones are powered from that. I've also got one on that legacy switch which is due to be removed, but I need to run some new cable in. That's on the to-do list for this month. Now taking a look at the wide speed tests using a Nano Beam, that is a bit slow, and I've just noticed that the IP address is wrong, so This is what happens when you use a VPN. So, and today's sponsor is Surfshark. No, I'm only joking. Let's disconnect that and try again. So the speed test over the Nano Beam is currently artificially limited to 250, but I am only getting a link speed over it of around 181. I've seen 230. And the upload speed always remains quite fast at about 20. If we take a look at the access point from the UISP software, it's now called, I will never get used to that, we can see that the link speed and capacity are fairly good. And if we take a look at the statistics over time, we can see that the connection's fairly stable. I've played with the signal strength quite a few times. You can see that right now it's low because I've dropped it for experimental. These are the view for the last 6 months, so let's look at the last 12. You can see very few outages. The statistics show the latency doesn't really fluctuate, the signal strength doesn't, and the few dropouts I have had with the connection haven't been from the Nano Beam, they've been from the ISP. That's pretty much it. That's my home setup. Now I'm working from home. I've added the 4G backup. I've upgraded for future proofing to the 10 gigabit. I'm going to be adding a 10 gigabit NAS. And other than that, everything's stayed the same. A couple of new switches. Keep it nice and tidy.